Hey guys, Alex back again with another video. I've got Jenny with me, like we used to do when she'd just sit in the background of my videos, looking pretty.
Get you more views then.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Anyway, this is a new series I'm going to start on the channel where basically whatever I've been listening to, I'm going to kind of just give you a rundown of what I've been listening to over the last couple of weeks, whether it's been on my turntable, whether it's been just streaming the albums or whatever it is. But it's like, what albums have I been listening to from front to back without skipping tracks? Or because I noticed a lot of last year I didn't really listen to full albums exactly. I mainly listened to like just individual tracks. So I came up with this idea to um, start listening to full albums a bit more and then share with you guys what I've been listening to. So that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm not going to waste too much time talking because I know you guys want to see the record. So let's get straight into this. First album I'm going to show you is Evelyn King's Get Loose album. One of my favourite R&B albums. This is from 1982. I wanted to listen to this. I don't know why. I was just in the mood to listen to this, and so I just obviously pulled it out of the collection, listened to it. And funny enough, the same day I listened to this, a friend of mine, another DJ friend of mine, she posted on his Facebook that he had also listened to this album, which I thought was pretty crazy. But yeah, just a phenomenal album from start to finish. And it's always one that when people ask me what's like, you know, me 3 R&B albums to listen to sort of get me into R&B, this is one of the ones I go to. I just think it's, you know, a perfect album, so to speak. Next album is a greatest hits album. This is the Rolling Stones with Rewind. You can see in the back I have my signed postcard of the original lineup for the Rolling Stones. Just one of the oddities I found when I worked in the record store. But yeah, this covers my favourite era for the Rolling Stones, which is like 1971 up to about 84. And there's a lot of their big songs from obviously that time: Miss You, Brown Sugar, Undercover the Night, Start Me Up, Emotional Rescue, Waiting on a Friend. Just really, really incredible greatest hits from the Stones. And yeah, just again, I feel like greatest hits, that when you've got a greatest hits, you can't really skip any tracks because they're obviously all going to be good, aren't they? So yeah, there's that one. Next is a hip hop album. One I think quite an underrated hip hop album in my opinion, and just an underrated group in general. This is Das EFX with Hold It Down. Their second album came out in 1995. One of my favourite years for hip hop music, by the way. This particular edition, as you can see, it's the music on vinyl pressing, but it's limited to 1,000 copies, which is pretty insane. I think there is one track on here that maybe could be skipped. It's called Buck Buck. It's the rapping is exceptional. I don't really like the beat or the instrumental on that one, but depending on the mood I'm in, I might just listen to it. I might skip it. I don't know. But other than that, really, really good album. The whole thing's produced by Parrish Smith, better known as PMD, from the group EPMD, for you hip hop fans out there. And there's also a track on here that features KRS-One, which is very good. So yeah, this is on green vinyl. I'm not going to get the vinyl out to show you, but just know it is a very underrated album in my opinion. Maybe I wouldn't say my favourite Das EFX album, but still a good one nonetheless. And then I went from that to George Michael. This is Older. Originally released in '96. This is the 2021 reissue or 22 reissue, I believe. Really, really solid album from George Michael. Definitely my favorite album by him. Really good. This is on white vinyl. They did a few different pressings. One on green, one on black, one on... Obviously the white one. Probably did one on polka dot colours or something. I don't know, but... Yeah. Really, this album was due a reissue because original pressings of this would fetch anywhere between 800 to, I think I'd seen them go up to like £1,000 sometimes. Which, I mean, as much as I love this album, I don't have that kind of money to pay for this. But this is a really well done reissue, sounds really good. Yeah, again, like I said, my favourite album by him. One that I wouldn't skip. There's some jazzy tracks on there, there's some more upbeat R&B tracks, there's some downbeat R&B tracks. It's just one of those albums that, again, I really think is underrated and underappreciated when it comes to George Michael and his solo stuff. But just really, really good anyway. Next up is the soundtrack to Baby Driver. Again, another album where there isn't really any room to skip any tracks because it's all different. This soundtrack jumps from the John Spencer Blues Explosion to Bob and Earl to Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers. You've got Beach Boys on here, Carla Thomas, Dave Brubeck, T-Rex, Commodores is on here, Queen's on here, Blur has a track on here, Golden Earring, Focus, Sam and Dave, Simon and Garfunkel, Barry White is on here. Just an absolute a really, really good soundtrack to a movie. If you've seen the movie, you'll know how well each song works with each scene. It's like the music itself is an individual character to the movie. I think the way that Edgar Wright did use the music was very creative and very, very original. And honestly, I can't wait for Baby Driver 2. I really wish Edgar Wright would hurry up with it. But yeah, definitely one of my favourite soundtracks. That's why I have to keep it. One of my favourite movies in general. But yeah, just had to keep this one in the collection and pulled out to listen to again. This one I might be coming back to quite a bit, I can see, because it's just got so much stuff on it, and when you can't decide what to listen to, it's really good when you just want to jump from like genre to genre. Okay, next up is another R&B album. This one is by an artist called John White. This is Night People. It's the only album he's ever done, unfortunately. I don't know what happened to him after this. I don't know if he made it big enough, or if he just didn't hit it big, or if he just quit music altogether. I have no idea. But this album came out in 1987, and there's actually some really good tracks on it. It's like R&B, but it's got synth melodies in it. So if you like that sort of thing, really, really good album to check out and listen to. Definitely one I think is underrated again in the R&B world, and one that I think more people should definitely check out and listen to. If you like electronic, like 80s stuff, but you also like a bit of R&B as well, definitely a good artist to check out, give it a listen. And again, one that was actually recommended to me that I didn't know about, so jumped on that and yeah, really love the album. Next up, this is alternative R&B, but this one's really good. This is Division, a group called Division. Their album's called September 5th. Their best album, in my opinion. I don't think they've topped this album since. With follow-ups, I don't think they ever will, personally, because it's just that good. But let's say, best way I can probably describe Division, if you like groups like The Weeknd, or you like Blood Orange or anything like that, The Vision will be for you. Definitely be for you. Very laid back, very melodic kind of alternative R&B. Definitely worth checking out if you like that sort of thing. What album is next? Of course, a go-to for me from this artist, Stevie Wonder. This is his album Inner Visions. A top 2 Stevie Wonder album for me. Definitely one that I think is solid from start to finish. I mean, again, another one that's kind of like a greatest hits. You've got 2 high on here: Visions, Living for the City, Golden Lady, Higher Ground, Don't You Worry About a Thing, He's Mr. Know-It-All. Very, very good album there from Stevie Wonder. You guys know how much I love Stevie Wonder, so I mean, I wasn't going to argue with, I actually hit the randomize button on my Discogs page and that album came up for me to listen to. I wasn't going to argue with it because it's just such a good album, really solid. Yeah. And one I think everyone should have. There's always one of 3 Stevie Wonder albums that people have in their collection, and this is one of those 3. I find really good. Next up, another hip hop album here. This is Pete Rock and CL Smooth with their album Mecca and the Soul Brother. Again, no room for skip on this one. It's such a good album. Just has everything on here is really good. The big track, obviously, They Reminisce Over You, is on this album as well, but you've got much more than that. You've got, well, this one in particular has a couple bonus tracks, has a remix of The Creator, and has a remix of Mecca and the Soul Brother, which are bonus tracks. This is a reissue, I think, from 93-ish, so it has those couple extra tracks, which I don't think the original does. But yeah, really, really good album there. A hip-hop classic. Just one, I think. Again, if you're a fan of hip-hop, you need to own this one in your collection. We'll go over to some jazz now. I have talked about this album a couple of times on the channel already in previous videos. Our song, I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of the artist because I'm going to butcher it, but there's the name, in case you're wondering. If you like spiritual jazz, this album will be right up your street. I gave a needle drop of this in my previous video, which you can check out now. One of my favourite albums of 2023. It came out in the last couple of weeks of 2023, so there wasn't a lot of time to really spend with this album. So I'm all up for spending more time with this, and the more I listen to it, my opinions on it do change. Like I said in my last video, I probably wouldn't have it as high as I did in my top 10 of 2023, but after listening to it again, I'm thinking I would. So my opinions on this are probably going to go up and down depending on my mood, but just a very, very good spiritual jazz album, well, nonetheless. And yeah, just one I think this artist is going to go far and do a lot of really big and cool things with his career. Honestly, in the jazz world, at least, if you're into jazz, definitely give that album a listen. Peter Tosh, Legalize It, a bit of reggae here that I fancied listening to. I really want to check out the new Bob Marley movie, and obviously, for those of you that don't know, Peter Tosh was a member of the Wailers, one of the founding members of the Wailers. This is his debut album from '76. Yeah, really good album from him. I don't actually think Peter Tosh has a bad album. I just think this is track to track. I think this is his most solid. And yeah, don't really know what else I can say here. It's reggae. If you like Bob Marley and the Wailers, you're probably gonna like Peter Tosh, just because obviously one of the founding members of the Wailers. You're not gonna say no, are you? Yeah, just really good album from him. Up next we have another soundtrack, again one of my another favourite soundtrack of mine. This is the soundtrack to Interstellar. Now, this pressing is not the full soundtrack. There are a lot of tracks missing, but then the actual soundtrack is about 2 hours long, or like 2 hours and 15 minutes, or something like that. The movie itself is nearly 3 hours long. Yeah, this reissue, I wanted it with this cover because I like this cover more than the actual cover we got, which is like Matthew McConaughey in his spacesuit standing on the planet that they discovered in the movie. I'll try and put a picture up somewhere for you to see, but I definitely prefer this. This is the music on vinyl pressing on crystal clear vinyl, limited to 15,000 copies. Which I think is an insane amount of number to have as a limited edition pressing. But it does come with a booklet as well. Yeah, just a very, very good album. Not only has Hans Zimmer done a really good job with the score here anyway, this pressing sounds phenomenal, and I can't recommend this soundtrack enough. If you like Hans Zimmer's work and you've not listened to Interstellar, definitely check it out because that is excellent. Another favourite band of mine here, this is the 1975. This is their album Being Funny in a Foreign Language, their most recent album. Came out in 2022. I've been obsessed with this album since it came out, and I really haven't stopped listening to the singles, and I thought it's been a really long time since I've checked the full album out. Like, I think since its release I checked out the album, and then once or twice after that, but I mainly only listened to like the singles off of here. So I thought it was time to revisit this album, and yeah, it really does hold up in their catalogue. Definitely up there in my, I'd say, top 3 1975 albums. But definitely, if you are a fan of theirs and you haven't given this album another listen, definitely worth revisiting that one there. This one is actually not my record. This one belongs to my wife Jenny. She picked this to listen to. We listened to it together. This is The Script, Science and Faith.
You can really tell the difference in our music taste.
You really can. Although there's some tracks on here that I really enjoyed listening to, like the track For the First Time, which is on here. If You Ever Come Back was another standout on this album. For me, Dead Man Walking was another standout as well. I definitely think this is a good album by them. I have never listened to this album all the way through. I don't think I've listened to any of the Script albums all the way through, if I'm honest. Like just their singles.
You listened to it the whole way through the other day?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
So this was a new experience for me, and actually I did enjoy this one quite a bit. A lot more than I thought I was going in, which is a surprise. So I think we might be picking up more Script albums.
I'm okay with that.
But yeah, good place to start with the Script if you're not familiar with their music at all. You might love them, you might hate them, but all I'm saying is I enjoyed them and it was fun. Last one here to show you, and again another one of mine and Jenny's favourite albums to listen to together, is this compilation just called 80s. So another compilation where there's not really any room for you to skip anything, because there's so many good artists on here, and it's just, you can't really, every track is different from the one before. Like, you've got Radio Gaga on here to open the album. The Winner Takes It All follows that, and then Here Comes the Rain Again by Eurythmics. Blondie's Atomic is on here, and then that's followed by Going Underground by The Jam, which is great. I think side B is probably my favourite to listen to, You've got Human Leagues, Don't You Want Me, Tainted Love by Soft Cell, Karma Chameleon, Look of Love by ABC, You Came by Kim Wilde, Temptation by Heaven 17, Made of Orleans by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Not really a big fan of that track, but still fun to listen to something different every now and again. And then that side closes off with Everybody Wants to Rule the World. So this one we come back to quite a bit when it comes to what should we listen to? Shall we listen to the 80s one? Yeah, we might as well. What more can I say? It's 80s. I love 80s music. And this is one of the first, I think it was the first album you bought me, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun times listening to that. And yeah, just it's one of our go-tos basically when it comes to wanting to listen to music together. So with that said and done, guys, that's it for this video. That's everything that I've listened to over the last couple of weeks, whether it, like I said, whether it's been actually spinning on my turntable or whether I've been listening to it on Spotify on my way to or from work, etc. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will try and keep this series going in the future if you guys would like to see that. Subscribe if you're new here, because that would really help me out. I'm trying to get to 400 subscribers by the end of the year. I believe I'm quite close. I haven't checked for a while.
Probably best to check before you say
yeah,
that.
probably. But also please, if you haven't already, make sure that bell's switched on. That way you never miss an upload. And I'll see you all again very soon.
Bye.
Bye.